Well, Sunday, we had a message called God Sees You. And I think that sometimes we feel, sometimes in life, we can feel kind of lonely and just kind of unseen, you know? And there's a scripture in the Bible where God speaks to this guy named Moses, who is kind of like, well, Moses is like not born into the best situation. He was born into Egypt. Moses was a Hebrew, but the Pharaoh was actually killing babies 2 years old and under because the Hebrews were growing and multiplying, and the Egyptians needed the Hebrews as slaves to build their temples and other things around their city. And so because of this, and Moses is born right into this situation. And his mom puts Moses in a basket where Pharaoh's daughter happens to be, and she sees Moses in the Nile and brings him up as an Egyptian. But about halfway through his life, Moses realizes he's not Egyptian, he's a Hebrew. And he sees a Hebrew and Egyptian. He sees an Egyptian basically being up on a Hebrew. Moses kills him, right? So that's not good. And then Moses takes off later. Because the Hebrews said, hey, we heard about you killing that murderer. You know, what right do you have to tell us to kind of get along? So Moses flees, and then God speaks to Moses later on in his life in the desert through this burning bush. And he says, I've seen the bondage, I've seen the oppression of my people. And what that really tells me is that God saw the struggles of the Hebrew people that were in slavery and in bondage. And I believe that Moses also knew that God had saw him at an early age. And so I want to let you know that maybe whatever you're going through, and it doesn't have to be like something bad, because I think that sometimes we can be going through maybe good things and not feel like we have anybody to share that with, and we kind of feel invisible, you know. Thursday, Amy went way out of her way. My birthday was Thursday. She went way out of her way to really make sure I had a special birthday. And we had to schedule Miles' surgery on my birthday. So I spent the night in the hospital with Miles and spent the whole day on my birthday with Miles. And Amy showed up with this big burger, you know, and all this stuff. And I was thinking, you know, if I had to spend a birthday alone, I'd feel pretty bad about that, you know. But God, and I didn't have to, you know, it was great. But God sees you when you're struggling in the good times, no matter what. You have a God that's with you. God sees you. And then he says to Moses, I want you to deliver. Let me, through my power, deliver these people. So God saw them, wanted to deliver them, and wanted to lead them to a better place. So that's kind of what I wanted to encourage you guys with today. God sees you. He knows if you're struggling, and he wants you to be in a better place. What do you think, Nigel? Anything jump out at you when I was sharing that today? I know sometimes you get something and sometimes not, you know?
Not a whole lot to say, except,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
And I just would say it from the enemy's perspective, that's what he wants you to think.
Yeah, that's true.
He wants you to feel like you're alone. He wants to think you're the only one struggling with this or that particular thing. When the truth is, there's a lot of people that struggle. He wants you to feel isolated.
Yeah.
He doesn't want you to reach out. He doesn't want you to hang with people because he knows there's strength in numbers. He knows there's strength in unity.
Yeah.
He wants disunity. He wants isolation, and that's how that he can get you to start believing his lies.
Right. Absolutely.
And, I would just say basically that.
That's awesome. Cool.
To keep it simple because of the time.
Yes, I was going to say, you've got a top 10 coming up. What's your top 10?